Hi, welcome to this short yoga class. We're going to begin today in child's pose. So coming onto your hands and knees, bringing your knees mat distance apart, your feet together, and then walking your hands forward, sinking your forehead down to the mat. And just shutting down the eyes and really arriving here on the mat. Bring your attention to your breath. And just observe how your breath is today without changing it at all, just witnessing the breath. And we'll start the practice with 3 deep breaths. So inhaling deeply through the nose and out through the mouth. And again in through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more time, in through the nose and sigh it out through the mouth. Just taking a few more moments in this child's pose. And then just lift the palms of your hands up so you're tenting your hands on the ground, so just your fingertips are on the ground. Just to feel a slight increase in stretch through the shoulders. And then bringing the palms back down, walk your hands back towards your knees and bring your knees back hip distance apart. Kind of come forward onto our hands and knees and open our right arm up to the sky. And then thread your right arm underneath your left, bringing your right shoulder to the ground. Coming in to thread the needle. You can stay here, or you can straighten out your left arm, or you can even wrap it around and grab the right thigh. So just choosing an option today that works for you. Again, you might like to shut down the eyes here. And then releasing that left hand, back to the floor, pressing through it to release the right arm as well. And then planting it back down. And we'll do that on the other side, so this time opening up the left arm to the ceiling. And then threading it underneath the right. Choosing that option with the right arm that works for you, either stretched out in front, wrapped round, or staying bent to offer a bit more support. Then return the right hand to the floor, press through it, and open up the left to the ceiling, and then plant it back down. Line your knees under your hips and your wrists underneath your shoulders. We'll move through a few rounds of cat-cow, so dropping the belly, looking up, and then round through the spine, bring your chin to your chest. And pairing your breath with your movement here, so as you inhale, dropping the belly, and as you exhale, rounding through. Just working through a few of these in time with your own breath. And then letting that go, tuck through the toes and press the hips back and up to the first downward facing dog. Just going to pedal through the legs here in this first downward facing dog, just to warm up the backs of the legs, the hamstrings. Making this movement as big or as small as you need it to be. And then coming to stillness with the legs. Just shake through the head yes and no a couple of times to relieve any tension in the neck. And looking up between your hands, we're going to take small steps up to the top of our mat, coming into a forward fold at the top. You can bend the knees generously here, grab opposite elbows, really feel that release in the lower back, maybe rock gently from side to side. And release the arms down, bend through the knees and roll up vertebrae by vertebrae. Head coming up last. We'll inhale to bring the arms up above our head and exhale to dive back down into that forward fold. Plant the hands and step the right foot back, lowering the knee. You can keep the toes tucked for more stability or untucked. We're going to come into a low lunge, so you can bring your arm to your thigh first for a bit more. Again, stability, taking a moment to feel comfortable with the legs, and then bringing your arms up above your head. And bringing the hands to the floor, I'm going to shift the weight slightly back. Begin to straighten through that front leg and flex through the front foot. This front leg doesn't need to straighten fully at all, but just so that you can feel the stretch in the hamstring, and flexing the foot will really bring that into the hamstring. Trying to keep an open chest here over that front leg. And then walking forward again with the weight. Just going to walk ourselves back and forward between the low lunge and the half splits a couple of times. And then planting the hands down, tuck the back toes, lift the knee, and step back to downward facing dog. And looking up between your hands, again we're going to walk little steps to the top of the mat into our forward fold. And then rolling all the way up. Again, we'll inhale to bring our arms up above our heads and exhale to dive down into our forward fold. This time we'll add a halfway lift, bringing our hands to our thighs or our shins and opening our chest to the floor, flat back. And then plant the hands, and this time step the left foot back, lowering the knee again, toes tucked or untucked. Again, coming into that low lunge when you're ready. Bring the hands to the floor and begin to shift the weight back as you straighten through that front leg, flexing through the front foot, coming into that hamstring stretch. Breathing here, trying to breathe into the stretch. I know this is quite an intense stretch. Just coming back to your breath. And then again, we'll shift the weight back and forward a few times, walking forwards and back with the legs. And then coming forward with the weight, planting the hands, tuck the back toes, lift the knee and step back to downward facing dog. We'll put the weight into the left leg to lift the right leg up. And look between your hands and step it as far forward as you can between them. You can always rearrange by grabbing the ankle and just getting that foot into position. And again, we're coming into that low lunge, so lowering the back knee and coming up with the arms. This time we're going to come into a side bend in our low lunge. So bringing our right hand down to the floor or a block or a cushion. And just bending over with that left arm. Really feeling that opening all along the left side body and the left hip flexor. Can bring your right hand to your leg, just finding a position that works for you. And then planting the left hand down, we're going to open up the right arm to the ceiling. You can stay here, or you can tuck the back toes and lift the back knee. It's a slightly stronger variation, sorry. And then planting the right hand back down, step the foot back to downward facing dog. And then putting the weight into the right foot, lift the left leg up. Look between your hands and step it as far forward as you can. Again, lowering the right knee, coming into that low lunge. On the other side, arms up above our heads. And then bringing that left hand to a block, your leg or the floor maybe. Bending over with the right arm. Still thinking about keeping our chest open and spiraling it up towards the ceiling rather than closing it off in this side bend. And then bringing the right hand to the floor, open up with the left arm coming into a twist. And either stay here or tuck the right toes and lift the knee. And planting that left hand down to frame the front foot, step back to downward facing dog. Again, putting the weight into the left foot, lift the right leg up. Look between your hands and sweep the right leg forward. This time we're going to keep the back knee lifted, so you might want to widen your stance as we're going to come up into our high lunge. You're coming up with the arms. You can bring your hands to your hips here if you feel like you need some more stability. Really pushing up through that back leg, so really straightening it and pushing it up and away. You can stay here, or we're going to test the balance and twist over that front bent leg, bringing the arms out horizontally. And then bringing the arms again above our heads, straightening up to the front. Plant the hands framing the front foot and step back to downward facing dog. And bringing the weight into the right foot, lift the left leg up. In between the hands, step it as far forward as you can. Taking a moment to feel stable with the feet before coming up with the body and the arms. And then opening the arms over that front bent leg into a T shape. Just testing the balance here. If you fall out, just coming back to it. And then straightening back up. Plant the hands framing the front foot and step back to downward facing dog. And then sink the knees to the floor. Bringing the mat distance apart and bring your hips down, coming back to child's pose. This time we're going to flip the hands so that the palms are facing the ceiling, just to relieve any tension in the wrists. And then flipping the hands back over, pressing through the palms to come back up with the body, bringing your knees back into your hips. We're going to come back to our downward facing dog. And we're going to stay here for 5 deep breaths. If you prefer a stronger practice today, you might want to come forward into plank, or equally you might want to stay in child's pose. So just choosing an option that feels good today, listening to your body, and just breathing deeply. And then planting the knees back down and swing the legs to one side. And we're going to come to cross-legged. I'll just turn to face you. So you might want to raise your seat here on a block or a cushion. And come into a twist, so bringing our arms up above our heads, growing tall. Bring your right hand to our left knee, crossing it over, and then our left hand can just fall to the floor behind us. Again, growing tall before we twist, really particularly in the lower spine, feeling that extension. And then twisting open from the tummy, not forcing it at all and not twisting from the neck. And then coming back to center, lifting the arms up. This time we'll bring the left hand to the right knee. Right hand can fall below, behind us. Growing tall and twisting open to the right. And letting that go, we're going to bring the soles of our feet together to touch and let our knees fall open wide. You can have your feet as close or as far away from your body as you'd like. Grabbing hold of the ankles, again growing tall. Staying here for a couple of moments. And then we can round through the spine as we bend over the legs, let the neck go. Relax through the face and the jaw. You can use your elbows here to push just above your knees if you want to feel slightly deeper stretch. And then coming back up with the body, you can use the hands to guide the knees back together. We'll come to lie down on our backs. Bring your knees into your chest, give them a hug, rocking gently from side to side. Then planting the feet down, just shift the hips to the right ever so slightly and let the knees fall over to the left. You can bring the arms out into a T shape and maybe look back at that right hand. Again, shutting down the eyes here. Relaxing through the face. And bringing your knees back to centre, your hips underneath you. And then shift them over to the left, over to the left to let the knees fall over to the right. And maybe turn your head to look back at your left hand. And then coming again back to centre with the legs and the head. Bring your knees into your chest one more time. And then we'll come into our final relaxation. So you can either have your feet mat distance apart with your knees knocking into each other. It's a bit nicer on the lower back. Or if it feels comfortable, you can lie down fully. Let your arms fold out. And just relaxing into this position on the floor. Making any last movements before coming to stillness. Shutting down the eyes. Quietening the mind. And trying not to engage with any thoughts that come into your head. Just simply letting them pass by. There's nowhere to be. Just soaking up the benefits of the practice with this last relaxation. And then slowly beginning to deepen the breath. Bringing your attention back to your surroundings, the floor beneath you. Start to make small movements, wiggling the fingers and the toes. Rocking the head gently from side to side. And taking a big stretch with the arms up above your head. Before rolling over onto one side, staying there for a couple more moments. And keeping the eyes closed as you come up to a seat. Just taking a few more moments of stillness. And bring your hands to heart center. And bow down. Namaste. And gently blink open the eyes. And coming up. Thank you for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed it.